this is your Sunday start. And what I want to share with you this week to help you get your week started, I want to ask you, what do you believe about you? It's not what you believe about anything external, not what you believe to be ideologically true or philosophically true or even scientifically true. What do you believe about yourself? What do you tell yourself about yourself when you talk to yourself? And people say, oh, well, you shouldn't talk to yourself because if you talk to yourself, you're crazy. No, let me tell you something. If you talk to yourself, you are probably one of the sanest people around. Because listen, the most credible voice that you are going to hear is your own. It's not the voice of God. It's not the voice of your spouse. It's not the voice of your mother. It's not the voice of your father. It's not the voice of your children. It's not the voice of your boss. It's not the voice of your pastor. It is your voice. What you say to yourself about yourself has more credibility than any other thing that anybody else is saying to you. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to get in the habit, in the mode, in the mindset of speaking well to yourself about yourself. Because I can tell you some things about yourself. I can tell you that you're loved. I can tell you that you're valued. I can tell you that you're important. I can tell you that you have something unique that only you can offer to humanity. I can tell you all of these things, but unless you internalize it and begin to speak it to yourself, it has very little credibility. And I think I'm a person that has a pretty credible voice, a pretty credible platform. But at the end of the day, it's not what Derek thinks about you, it's what you think about you. So one of the things I remember when I was a kid, people told me that I would never amount to anything. They told me that I thought I was too smart for my own good, a whole bunch of things that people told me. But what I learned early on is that I had to counter every negative thing that was said about me. I had to go back to myself and say to myself, hey, Derek, you're awesome. Hey, Derek, you're not a stutterer. Hey, Derek, you are someone who has value. You are loved. Even when I didn't feel loved by others, I had to remind myself that I was loved by me. How I felt about me dictated virtually everything about what I did beyond that. And so as a result, I've had a really awesome career. I have really awesome relationships. I have friendships that have lasted over 50 years. And all of these things because I did not let external forces dictate what I believe about myself. So here's an exercise that you can do. When you wake up in the morning, don't get out of bed right away. Take a minute, breathe, get used to the whole idea of breathing. And really, like, touch yourself, touch your skin, touch your arms, touch your shirt, and feel. Get used to feeling. And as you're doing all of this, say to yourself, I am awesome. I am loved. I am valued. I have something to contribute to the world and to society that no one else has. I am unique. I am special. Say these things to yourself every morning. And what happens is that the most credible voice that you know will begin speaking to you, not in your outer ear, as you're hearing me right now, but in your inner ear. When your inner ear hears this, your mind begins to process this, and it begins to internalize it in your internal system. And when you do that, you are going to build up a wellspring of encouragement, a wellspring of belief in yourself. And what the end result of this will be is this incredible confidence, this unshakable confidence that you have something to offer. And see, that's the thing where people kind of miss it, is that they believe somehow somebody has told them that they have nothing significant to offer society, and nothing could be further from the truth. Do you know that the reason why you exist in the quantum field is because there is some necessary function that you have to perform? Now, people will call that purpose, and I don't like to speak on a specific purpose anymore, because I believe that humanity is created with a vast range of possibility. And when we tap into those possibilities, then we find a purpose for a specific period of time. And this is the other thing too. Don't let anybody make you believe that your purpose or your potential has an expiration date. It doesn't. There is a guy who, I think the oldest guy who finished medical school in the history of the United States, finished medical school at the age of 88. He started prior to World War II and decided he would go back after his wife died and he had raised his kids and his grandkids. And he decided he wanted to go back to medical school because that's where he started. That tells you that even though you may be in advanced age, that is not the end. A beginning can happen literally at any age, and history is chock full of that. So don't believe anyone that tells you that your potential has an expiration date, because it doesn't. The next thing that I want you to do is to understand that you can start at any time. Listen, people will tell you, oh, well, you have to wait until conditions are right, or listen, you don't. There will never be perfect conditions for what it is that you want to do. Because if there were perfect conditions, basically everybody would fulfill their potential. And it doesn't happen that way. But here's the awesome thing, is that it can. That everybody, and I'm talking about every single human soul walking the earth, has the ability to realize their potential. And it all begins with starting. But you can't start if you are paralyzed by your thoughts. We call that analysis paralysis. Don't get so hung up on your thoughts that you don't get started. The thing to do is that when it's time to start is when it's time to start. And people will give you every reason why you shouldn't do what you want to do. But listen, don't believe that voice. Believe this one, the one that comes from within. So these are the things that if we start to think about beginnings, listen, when did God say, let there be light? Did God pick a specific time to say that? Or did he or she just speak it in his or her heart? So that's the thing. If you're waiting for, and let me tell you this too, don't wait for the affirmation of others. Listen, more people, and hear me on this, when you're starting out, more people are going to be against you than for you. It is only after you've enjoyed some success that you are going to have well-wishers and people who are standing with you and cheering you on. Look at it like this, that someone who's hitting home runs in the minor leagues doesn't get the same accolades as the guy who hits home runs in the majors. The thing is that you are going to have detractors. You're going to have haters. You're going to have people that try to discourage you and dissuade you from doing what it is that you want to do. And I'm going to tell you something, that make those the least credible voice. And honestly, now this is going to be tough for many of you, because this was tough for me, is that many times it is your own family, it is your own friends, it is the people that are closest to you that are going to give you the most static. And you are going to have to learn how to find your signal in the midst of that noise. You are going to have to learn to play through that, because Think of it as like as in golf, it's a water hazard, it's a bunker. It's something that is keeping you from your objective. And here's another exercise that you can do. That as you're writing down your goals, as you're writing down your to-dos, also write down the obstacles that you perceive to be at the forefront of those obstacles, or the things that will prevent you from getting to it. Write those things down too, and then start developing a plan to how to overcome those obstacles. Because listen, obstacles do not overcome themselves. That is something that you have to proactively do. And here's the other thing too, is that proactive is always better than reactive. A lot of times we're in reactive mode. In other words, we are only doing something in response to some stimuli. But if we think about things ahead of time, you have to think like a chess player. You have to be strategic. And if you're thinking strategically, then that means you're looking at problems before they occur. Now, people will say, well, you don't want to give life to a problem, do you? No, you don't want to give life to a problem, but you want to figure out how to give death to it. And you're only going to do that by thinking about what it is that you're going to do and thinking about these obstacles that will come up, because the obstacles will come. You know, in the Bible it says, no weapon formed against me will prosper. Guess what, guys? That the weapon is going to be formed. The question is whether or not you allow it to prosper or not. No matter what, there are going to be people, there are going to be detractors, there are going to be obstacles, there are going to be hindrances, there are going to be things that block your flow. But guess what? You have the ability to overcome them all. You are an overcomer. You are a conqueror. And the only way that you will know this is by you saying this to yourself. What do you believe about you? Listen, you can believe that you're a loser. You can believe that you're hindered. You can believe that you're hobbled. You can believe that you're broken. You can believe that people are against you. You can believe all of these things. Or you can believe that you're strong. You can believe that you're wise. You can believe that you're smart. You can believe that you have the potential. You have what you need. You have everything that you need in order to overcome. You can believe that. And watch this. What you believe about you is going to determine what your outcome is. Because if you believe the best about you, the best will come out of you. And watch this. This is the beauty of it. This is the synergistic part. That when you believe the best about you and begin to speak the best about you, then what happens is that you will instantly begin to see the best in others. And you will begin to speak the best to them. You will begin to believe the best of them. And what happens is that because you have believed the best about you, now you are projecting that out to the world. And you want to talk about a perpetual motion machine? Whatever it is that you project, you can expect. Whatever you sow, you can reap. Whatever you speak, you can expect to hear. These are natural principles that are immutable. They do not change. They don't respect faith, they don't respect religion, and they don't respect people. These are principles that work no matter who does them. So I want you to look at yourself, get in the mirror. Man, as soon as you stop watching this, go get in the mirror right now and say some positive things to yourself. And keep saying these positive things to yourself until you believe them. Because watch this. What you believe about yourself is based on repetition. In other words, if you're allowing external voices to dictate your belief about yourself, The repetition of those voices will alter your consciousness. That's why you have to speak to yourself, especially if people are speaking negatively to you. You have to counter that with something positive. You have to sow these seeds into your own mind and begin to speak these things to yourself, because what happens then is that the repetition of you speaking positively to yourself is going to change how you see yourself, what you believe about yourself. And at the end of the day, if you practice this faithfully, you will not be one of the people that goes to the grave with their potential unfulfilled. Like a washcloth, you will have been wrung dry of all of your potential in the earth before you go on to the spiritual realm. Before your physical body ceases to function, you will have achieved something, and you will have left a mark in the earth, in humanity. And that is what it's all about. So believe in yourself and believe the best about yourself. And that will change everything. So that's a great start for your week. And stay tuned. I'll be back every day, 10 o'clock at this channel, at this time, 10 a.m. my time, which is Mountain Standard Time for Arizona, which doesn't do daylight savings time, which is another thing. But at this same time, every day, I'll be back with something encouraging for you. And I hope that it will change your mind so that you can change the world. Peace. Glad you tuned in. Hope to hear from you soon. If you like this video, please like and subscribe here. And I will see you on the other side of Forward.